I moved out without telling my parents. I was 18 and technically an adult, but my parents still treated me like I was 12. My mom would go through my backpack every single day when I got home from school, checking my homework like I was in 3rd grade. She'd read my text messages whenever she felt like it, and if I complained, she'd take my phone away for a week. My dad wasn't much better. He had this rule where I couldn't leave the house after 6 p.m., even on weekends. If I wanted to hang out with friends, I had to give them a full essay about where I was going, who would be there, and when I'd be back. The final straw was when they installed one of those tracking apps on my phone without telling me. I only found out because my friend Jake mentioned seeing my location pop up when he was trying to text me. I confronted them about it that night, and my mom just shrugged and said it was for my safety. My dad backed her up, saying as long as I lived under their roof, I followed their rules. I'd been working at this pizza place since I turned 16, saving up every paycheck except for what I needed for gas and lunch money. By the time I graduated high school, I had almost $4,000 saved up. I started looking at apartments online during my lunch breaks, telling myself I was just browsing. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I could actually do this. I found this tiny studio apartment about 20 minutes from my job. The rent was only $600 a month, and the landlord said if I could prove I had a steady income and pay first month plus deposit, he'd rent to me. I went to look at it on a day my parents thought I was at work. It was small and kind of dingy, but it was mine. I filled out the application that same day. 2 weeks later, he called and said I was approved. I could move in the following weekend. That's when it hit me that I was actually doing this. I felt sick to my stomach, but also kind of excited. I started slowly moving my stuff out. Every day after work, I'd grab a backpack full of clothes or books and stash them in my car. I told my parents I was staying late to help close the restaurant, which wasn't totally a lie since I was picking up extra shifts to make sure I could afford everything. The hardest part was getting my bigger stuff out. I waited until they went to my aunt's house for Sunday dinner, something I'd gotten out of by saying I had to work. I loaded up my car with my dresser, my desk, and my TV. I left most of the furniture since it wasn't really mine anyway, but I took the stuff that mattered. I left them a note on the kitchen counter. I kept it simple, told them I'd moved out, that I was safe, and that I'd call them in a few days when I was settled. I said I needed space to figure out who I was as an adult, and that I hoped they'd understand eventually. I left my house key next to the note. My phone started blowing up around 8 that night. Missed calls, texts, voicemails. My mom was crying in half of them. My dad was yelling in the others. They wanted to know where I was, if I was okay, why I didn't talk to them first. They said they'd always supported me and couldn't understand why I'd do this to them. I turned my phone off and didn't turn it back on until the next morning. I had 37 missed calls and way too many texts to read through. I called them back and told them I was fine, gave them my address, and said they could come see my place if they wanted. My mom showed up an hour later with groceries and tears in her eyes. She looked around my tiny apartment and asked if I was really happy living in such a small space. I told her I'd never been happier. She sat on my couch for 2 hours, asking me questions about how I'd planned everything, when I'd started saving money, how I'd found the place. I think she was genuinely shocked that I'd been able to handle all of it on my own. My dad took longer to come around. He didn't visit for almost a month, and when he finally did, he spent the whole time pointing out everything that was wrong with the apartment. The heater was too loud, the neighborhood wasn't safe enough, the building was too old. But by the end of the visit, he was helping me hang pictures on the wall. It's been 6 months now, and our relationship is actually better than it's ever been.